Fabulous. Well, it's really great to have everyone here. We really appreciate you taking some time to learn together. And we have a fantastic group of panelists who will be presenting today. So really, really exciting to get to pull together and spend time on this important topic. And I'll be kicking things off. My name is Estrella Reisinger. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Executive Director of the Association for Environmental and Outdoor Education and the co-chair of CALI. And we're so pleased to be hosting this Program Leaders webinar series as a collaboration between the California Environmental Literacy Initiative, or CALI, and AEOE. As we get things going, we want to make a few acknowledgments. First, we just want to send some love to our friends in Southern California. We know that the fires are pretty scary, and we're hearing about a lot of school closures and smoke, in addition to the actual loss of structure and land and sites. So just want to put that out there and be thinking about our friends in Southern California today. We also want to acknowledge that this meeting is taking place throughout the unceded territory of California, home to nearly 200 tribal nations. We acknowledge and support the ancestral grounds of these communities and support the stewardship of these lands according to local Indigenous wisdom and practice. Personally, I'm joining from Uchin, currently known as Oakland, California. I sit on stolen land that has been cared for by Lishan Alone since time immemorial. And I hope that you'll join us in sharing our appreciation for the past and present stewardship of the places we live, work, and play, and commit to shaping a future that is just. And this would be a wonderful time for folks to introduce themselves in the chat. We'd love to know, where are you coming from? What organizations are you representing? Whose land are you on? And if that's something that you're not familiar with yet and you'd like to find out, put a link in the chat that can be really useful for learning more about Native land. And we know that this is just one step in making this acknowledgement. There's so much more work that needs to be done. And I think in particular with these fires right now, really reminded of the importance of stewardship of our lands and the role that fire plays in our lives. And it's exciting to see kind of the shift towards partnership with the Indigenous practices around fire tending, and still kind of recognizing this devastating event that we're seeing unfold. I want to spend a little bit of time for folks who may be new to AEOE, who is working in partnership with us today to host this webinar series as the AEOE representative. Just tell a little bit about our organization, who we are, and what we do, and hope that you'll get more involved. Our organization was founded in 1954 by a group of outdoor educators, making us one of the first professional associations of our kind in the nation. We work to strengthen environmental education in California by connecting providers, building professional expertise, and championing environmental literacy and outdoor learning. We are a network of dedicated individuals and organizations that are committed to using environmental and outdoor education as a tool to create lasting environmental change. And we are guided by the work of our members, EE providers, practitioners, and environmental champions across the state. And we also serve as the state affiliate of the North American Association for Environmental Education, representing California in the largest community of environmental educators in the world. So we hope you'll get to know us better if this is your first time interacting with us. And that same goes for CALI. So our co-host today is the California Environmental Literacy Initiative, which is a collective action network that seeks to ensure access to high quality environmental-based learning for all California's TK through 12 students. Led by 10 Strands, CALI works statewide with guidance from its members to create systems change in support of ensuring that all students have access to high quality environment-based learning. The members of this collective action network include a wide array of expertise and contributions from educators, government and non-governmental agencies, scientists, sustainability professionals, and individuals with expertise on the environment and systems change. This particular webinar series is supported by the Community-Based Partners, which is one of the innovation hubs within the CALI membership. And we have many of the planners and Innovation Hub members on our call today. So I really want to put out some big kudos and thanks to folks who helped to support this series. CALI members meet quarterly with the whole network, and in between these quarterly meetings, CALI activators and leaders take action through these different initiatives, either through these hubs or these other efforts that you see to the right. And just if this is something that you're excited about and potentially want to learn more about the hubs, the structure, what we do, I'll put the chat to our page so you can learn a little bit more and possibly get involved. You can see some of our goals right here as a part of the network as the community-based partner innovation hub around convening, around kind of elevating the importance of our work in the state, strengthen our community, and in particular, the pathways between formal and informal education, and being able to meet the needs, seeing what comes up in our community and being able to support folks. And we're so excited to be hosting this webinar series as an opportunity for us to bring our community together, to gain some professional learning and knowledge, and hopefully to increase all of our capacity in developing and sustaining long-lasting relationships with our formal education partners. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Linda, who is one of our planners for the event, who can introduce our speakers.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to spend time with you and for you to make time to be here today. I'm really excited to bring to you a panel of really amazing folks who are doing exciting work, collaborating and partnering with community-based partners through expanded learning. Our first presenter today is Olivia Kernan. She is the Expanded Learning Coordinator for the Humboldt County Office of Education, and it is an absolute delight to talk to her and learn from her. And I want to go ahead and turn things over to Olivia, who's going to share with you today. I don't want to take any more of her time, and then later we'll be joined by Christiana Trout-McPhee and Toby Pace. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Olivia, it's all yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. I feel really special to have gotten to know Linda and just that you thought of me. So thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm going to just quickly dive in. My presentation style is definitely more conversational, so I really don't mind if you have a question before you forget it, just to ask, or if there needs to be further clarification in anything, just let me know and I'm happy to break it down a little bit, because I know a lot of the acronyms or the terms that I'll use from expanded learning might not be universal. So I will try not to go too quickly or use acronyms, but if I do, please let me know and I will go ahead and clarify. If we could go to the next slide, please. Expanded learning in California makes up just a huge budget. I believe we're at $6 billion right now. And that is done in a few different ways. So we have our ACES, which is our state grant money. So ACES, and then there's the 21st Century Funds, which is the federal grant money for expanded learning. And that really, we expanded learning really 3 years ago with the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program coming out of COVID that has now stayed. So that was, I believe, like a $4 billion. So we really went from being minimally funded to like really, really funded overnight. And so before, in the state of California, it was an option for LEAs, for districts to provide expanded learning. So they could do that by having parents pay for it or applying for one of the state or federal grants, which is the ACES or 21st grant, Century grants. However, with the expansion of ELOP, that became an allotment. So that then mandated districts to provide expanded learning, that before school, after school, and intercession day, which is a non-school day option. So it went from a choice to now you have to do it. And that requirement has held steady until now. Next year, districts will have the opportunity to opt out. But for right now, the last 3 years, they have had to provide this service for TK through 6th. So ACEs in 21st Century are TK through 8th grade age ranges, and ELOP programs are TK through 6th. So we've had just such a big expansion in the funds that are going to expanded learning, as well as those requirements. So the funding for ACEs was typically $10.18 per student per day. And that went to the districts, and there was a base allotment and then a maximum funding. But ELOP is based on the number of unduplicated pupils. So that would be a free reduced lunch, English as a second language, and oh my gosh, no, I'm blanking, McKinney-Vento, foster and homeless youth. So it was really based on the population you served, and it really opens up free, high quality childcare to families in need. So districts are now able to provide this service till I believe it's like 6 o'clock at most sites. Each school day they're required to, and then 30 intercession days. So usually we see those 30 days happening in the summer, or sometimes on a Saturday, or during a spring break or winter break. So I just wanted to explain that really quick before we jump into the presentation, so that way you know when I'm talking about these programs what a district is required to do currently. So the money comes down from the state if it's ACEs, expanded learning, or ELOP or 21st Century, and we have a system of support. So each of our regions, I believe there's 9 regions in California, have systems of support. So I am in the northern region, the most rural region, in Region 1, and I believe we have 6 counties in the region, and I'm the lead for Humboldt County. So while I'm not the regional lead, I work closely with our regional lead that covers all of our counties. So when I'm going to be making suggestions, I'll oftentimes talk about our systems of support or your regional leads. So that will be something to keep in mind as well. So I am the county lead for Humboldt, and we here at the county office hold the ACEs in 21st Century grants for 22 of our sites. So we oversee that funding and the grant requirements for those 22 school sites that are grant funded, and I provide technical assistance for ELOP, which is the allotments for all of our 32 districts. So the Redwood After School Network is a product of that. So we hold those grants, and part of that is that we require all of our sites to go to a 2-hour professional development, a network meeting every month. And we also have an open invitation to any other ELOP sites that would like to join as well. So when I'm talking about entry points, many of them are happening in these network meetings. And through our region, we have 3 networks. We have the Redwood After School Network. I think the Sonoma one is called SCAN, and then we have REN. I'm sorry, I don't remember what those stand for, but so if you are in the Region 1, that's Mendocino, Sonoma, Lake County, that would be something to look into as well. And if you're throughout the rest of the state, finding those systems of support folks, which I can drop in the chat here later, and finding those networks could be very helpful when you're thinking about these next steps. The next slide. Okay, so I'm going to just share what's worked for us. Again, keep in mind that we're rural, so we probably, I think it's like 17,000 kids in all of our 32 districts, where I know some of you are serving districts that are probably more students than that in just one district. So we are spread out. Some of our school sites our school districts are one school site, I'm sorry. So we have a site that has 7 kids that's 2 hours up in the mountains, and that can be an example of one of our sites. Or we have sites that have thousands and thousands of kids with you know, really large after school programs. So we're really, so anything that we suggest, just know that it is what's working for a very rural area. But you're welcome to anything, anything that we've found. We don't like to recreate the wheel. We're happy to share what's worked. So I'm going to talk a little bit about entry points. What has been an amazing entry point for community partners to help build our expanded learning environmental literacy knowledge. And the big one has been field trips. Field trips have really helped us provide place-based science and environmental literacy curriculums at all of the school sites that we serve. I have to say this is probably, this and professional development are probably our most steady and consistent way that environmental literacy happens, especially in the summer in expanded learning. So one thing to think about when you're reaching out with offers for expanded learning sites to come visit your sites, we oftentimes cannot visit during the school year because we only have 3 hours after school most of the time. So there's not enough time to get on a bus, drive to an activity, do the activity, and then get home. So those 9-hour days that we're required to do in the intersession time, so again, that's summer or breaks, is really what really is what's helpful. So many of the field trips that we have gone on that are science-based are in the summer. Does anybody have any questions about? Okay. So, and then one thing that I want to say is, as far as working with EL partners or community-based partnerships, strong partnerships have really been the key for us. So if one of our school sites works with, this is, I think, our garden collaborative, if one of the school sites works with the local garden collaborative or the state parks, and they have a really positive relationship, we often see them continuing to work more with them and then bringing in other school sites and it really snowballing. So I really do think that the partnerships have been such a huge part of expanded learning in our, in environmental literacy in our expanded learning space. So that has really helped. And that really, the strong partnerships we've seen, like, let's say Friends of the Dunes. We've seen Friends of the Dunes do something small with one of our after school programs and then really expand that to, you know, something that's a multi-day or something that's like, okay, now we're coming in every week and then we're taking the kids on field trips on a regular basis. So I really think that getting those relationships built early and starting slow and then ramping up has been what's most successful for us. It looks like there's somebody has a question. Are your field trips usually day long or multi-day trips? Both. It really depends on the site. I would say most of them have started as day trips or even half-day trips and then have either been successful and we've been invited back, or there has been multi-day trips. Those are a little bit harder as far as paperwork and insurance and staffing. One of the hard things is staffing. So really looking at, we have strict ratios that we follow. And so that's 1 to 10 staff members for TKK and then 1 to 20 for older grades. And so that really makes it like, if there's not enough staff, it's like we can't go on the field trip. And so really making sure that if it is a multi-day field trip, that there is the staff to accommodate that. And then a question here, does expanded learning pay for transportation? Everything is really set up in your MOUs. You would create the MOU with the district. But I believe with all the field trips that we have done, we've paid, we have money right now for the first time ever. So we're ready to get on a bus and go. The finding a bus driver has been a little bit harder, but that's something that would be worked out at the district level. Slide. Okay, so environmental education and PD and conferences, we've had a lot of really good success. Sometimes I don't always know what our sites want. But what I can do is bring in environmental literacy folks that really have made the connection with our county office or with our systems of support that have high quality curriculum and experiences, and then bring them into those PD spaces where we are serving our expanded learning educators in the county and conferences. We have a few really wonderful conferences in our region every year and in the state. And that's a great way to connect, because at these monthly PDs that we do at the Red Hood After School Network, and we also have our regional conferences, that is all of the coordinators for these programs in one spot. So that is a great way that you can, at our monthly meetings, there's probably around 30 program leads there. Almost everyone in the county comes. And so that's a great way to really be like, hey, this is what I'm offering. If you're interested, here's, the information. And that's how we've been able to really help connect environmental literacy coordinators with our sites, because ultimately our sites are the ones that decide what curriculum and what experiences are best for them. But what we can do is help make that connection. And that's something that I really pride our program on doing. It looks like this was a regional conference from last year. The state parks were presenting, and then I think that was a garden educator on that left side. And then it looks like there's a few questions. Who establishes the content, the partner, or do you establish the program at the district level? So the content, what do you mean by the content?
I guess I was referring to in all the different activities that are being done, partly I'm always looking at, like, do I get to decide, who decides what the flow of the program is?
So we really love it when people come in with the content already established and then share. So like the state parks, we can't go to a program right now where they do a campfire program, their traditional campfire program. We can't go during the school year. So they have adjusted their campfire program, and they've been bringing it to us. And so they presented just like a short, probably 15-minute presentation about what they could offer and a really easy way to sign up. And then that's how districts were accessing that from. But really having something that is ready to go, that is polished, where there's not a lot of pre-teaching involved in the expanded learning side, has been very successful for us. Either we're going to an experience that is already set up for us and that they can present, or they're coming to us with everything that they need to have the experience. So really having something ready to go for educators has been really, really successful. Okay, next slide. I'm worried I'm not going to get through all my slides. Sorry. And also participation in programs that are happening in the core day. So if you are already in a school during the core day, let's say you're helping with Steelhead in the classroom, or you have another program that's already going on the core day, it's worth asking if the expanded learning wants to participate. Because more often than not, when we're offered a chance, we'll say yes. It says, and then I saw there's a question here. Is this specific to expanded learning after school programs? That's my area of expertise. So the information I'm giving is related to that. But if there are anything that's helpful in other contexts, that's great. And then how do I find out to pitch my programs and PD opportunities to the districts? This is from Nicholas. Nicholas, where do you live?
I'm in El Dorado County.
El Dorado. Okay, so I will go ahead and I can put up when the presentation ends a link to your systems of support. And I think it's worth reaching out to the person in your region to say, hey, do you guys have regional meetings or STEM? They often have STEM groups in each region, and like, can I present at the next meeting, or can I talk to the person that's in charge of that? And oftentimes that's how you can get in with either a system of support or a network lead. All right, next slide, please. School gardens are a great entry point that we have seen just such success in expanded learning for school gardens. So if you have any curriculum or lessons, or your organization does anything with school gardens, please consider expanded learning. This is a great way to partner, because oftentimes we don't have we have the funds, but it doesn't always work out to hire a garden person, but doing something with like a contract or something like that is a really great win-win to do a supplemental employee for a garden or something like that. Okay. And then countywide student events. We've seen lots of like solution fairs, also like science fairs. We used to have REEF, which was an environmental fair as well at our county, and after school will sometimes participate in that, and that's a great way to partner as well. Next slide. So entry points, I would say, are those networks or consortium meetings through your region, the regional expanded learning systems of support. They all have meetings, especially they have STEM groups as well. Newsletters, I have a weekly newsletter that I send out to my county, and it's growing. And so I always put, if there's a community partner that we've worked with that has worked well with our districts, I will put their information in there. I know we do a lot with local farmers, putting that in the information so that we can have access to fresher local vegetables. And that has been a really great way to do that. As well as our environmental literacy communities of practice. Like I know that in our region, we have a community of practice, and I know if they are already within our system, if they're already participating in something that is held by our county office, they are more likely to know how to work with us and help be agreeable to work within our systems, because it is a little bit bureaucratic, you know, working within our systems, where you do have to fill out the right paperwork, you know, create the MOUs, things like that. So sometimes if we know that they're already working somewhere within our county office, it makes it a little bit easier to partner. And then presentations at regional and state conferences is a great way. We have one on October 18th that we're still looking for presenters, if anybody's in Region 1 or wants to travel. And then also the school garden networks. And I think the next one is barriers. Staffing, sometimes we're low staffed. So it's worth saying like, oh, if you guys can't come out to a field trip to see our amazing organization, maybe we can come to you. And so that would be a great way to help remove that barrier. Or, you know, bus drivers, again, we see a shortage in the state. So especially in our region, if we couldn't make it to the state park, but they came to us, and that was a really great way to partner. Size accommodations. Again, sometimes we have huge class sizes, or classes, sometimes they're smaller. And I shouldn't say class sizes because we always have the ratio, but it depends. So sometimes you're like, you know what, we can accommodate your TKK students today, and maybe we can accommodate another group, you know, the next week, but really just kind of being flexible to make sure that we're setting our programs up for success. Also, when I'm talking about size accommodations, where to park a bus. If you're inviting us, please make sure there's room to park a bus or a plan, because that's one we found. And then timing, again, summer or intersession days, we have those 9-hour chunks. And then in the school years, we have those 3 hours after school. So just accommodating the lessons or the offerings to when our availability is. And that's all.
Thank you so much. That's incredibly helpful. And I think there's one more question in terms of learning about similar entry points for
Let me
folks
go
in
ahead
Southern.
find systems of support, expanded learning. I'm gonna type it in and find it for you guys. And so each system of support is set up a little bit differently. So we have again networks in Region 1, and I'm not sure if every region has that, but every region has a regional lead, and every region gets funded through their regional leads for STEM programming. So that could be a really great way to, as an entry point to start the conversation. I would definitely say we get so many, since ELOP started, we get so many emails from people trying to sell us stuff. And so I definitely, if somebody wants to partner, but it feels like they're selling stuff, I don't pay it as much mind as somebody like, hey, I'm from this educational, you know, I'm from Friends of the Dunes. We're a nonprofit educational thing that, you know, something like that. Again, that relationship building rather than selling works. And then just also understanding that everybody is on a different budget. So like some of our MOUs are larger and some of the MOUs are smaller at different districts, just depending on what they can bring in. So we have some like in our rural area that have like base level apportionments for the entire year that are $50,000 and then some that are millions. And so really knowing that like, hey, here's the cost of this programming, really making sure that it's not either outrageous for the person wanting to access that, can help set some expectations. I know I had an opportunity that kept calling us that was $50,000 a day, and they were trying to sell it to somebody. They wanted one of our districts that was $50,000 for the entire year was their funding. And I had to finally say, like, we cannot afford this. Please stop calling. So it's just also good to kind of know your audience as well. Okay, so if you go, this is the CDE website. If you go down, it'll say systems of support for expanded learning, and you'll see them each by region. So actually, let me put this second one. And I would almost say if you reach out to them, you can just say who's in charge of the science hub, things like that. And they can point you in the right direction, because it'll vary for each system of support. But like if you're in Region 1, I would say reach out to Beth Pine. I know that she does a lot of environmental literacy. But as far as the different regions, since I'm only from Region 1, I couldn't tell you, but maybe our next presenter would be able to. And then is there a best or worst time to approach regional leads about sharing resources? We have a bunch of big deadlines coming at the end of January. So maybe after that, maybe at the start of February. But every part of the year is busy and exciting and full of opportunity.
Thank you so much for sharing such a wealth of ideas. Does anyone else have questions that you're burning to ask right now? And you can also ask them as we keep going.
And then I just went ahead and put my email too. If anybody thinks of something and wants to ask, I'm happy to help in any way. Thank you.
Thank you again very much for making time today. And I want to also make sure to give time for our next presenters. We're really excited to have two ends of the state represented today, and very different programs. Now we have an opportunity to learn from Toby Pace and from Christiane Trout-McPhee, both with San Diego Unified School District, and they oversee the extended learning program and extended learning opportunities. And to see what they do, they're going to share their program, and you'll get a chance to make a comparison. But please, again, continue asking those questions as we go along. And I'm just so honored to have all three of these folks here today. So please go ahead, Christiane.
Thank you, Linda, and just want to say a huge thanks to Olivia for giving that statewide visual and overview of all of that. We're going to narrow you in down here in San Diego right now, and we work in the San Diego Unified School District. It's actually the second largest district in California. So both Christiana and I have the honor of serving many students. We have about 100,000 students in our district. And as I will just echo everything Olivia said, the encouragement for all CBOs and potential partners is to really look at that link she put in the chat there, because that would be your best next step. And as she mentioned too, we're still renewing all of our ACEs. This month is a very fun, busy month for us. So waiting till next month would be a great, great opportunity to reach out. For us here in San Diego Unified, we do it a little differently, but we are funded by our department specifically works with the two funds, ELOP as well as ACEs. And I want to allow my colleague to introduce herself, and then we can skip to the next slide and I'll give you an overview.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me today. My name is Christiana Trout McPhee, and I'm the manager with the Extended Learning Opportunities Department, and I have the pleasure of overseeing the before and after school programs that are funded by the ACES and ELOP, and then we also run summer programs as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And if you can go to the next slide, this is kind of just our visual, and with those two funding sources, ELOP and ACES, we've worked hard to really look at that balance of providing an academic enriching programs which provide safe, inclusive, joy-filled opportunities for students to grow socially, emotionally, inside and outside the school day and school year. That's really our mission statement and vision, is really looking at students. And we work specifically with students TK through 8th grade. We have a whole high school department. We are a unified school district, but specifically, we work with our elementary schools and middle schools. We in San Diego Unified have 144 of those schools, and we work centrally in the central office to deploy programs. So during the summer, as Christiana mentioned, we are required to offer, we call it the summer, through our ELOP guidelines, it's intersession. So some school districts offer it during spring break, another week, but the minimum requirement with our funding is to offer a minimum of 30 days outside of the instructional calendar. So that's important to note. So it's an opportunity to really bring in outside community business partnerships like yourselves and enrich the lives of our kiddos. So for us in San Diego Unified, we do this in many ways. We partner through contracting with various, all the way from learning guitars and ukulele in the classroom to going to the San Diego Zoo. We partner with our zoo. We partner with large and small organizations. And it's important to do this because that's the intent of the ELOP and ACES grant, is to provide opportunities for our unduplicated pupils. And we say that word is unduplicated. Some people say UPP for short, but really it's the priority is to really provide opportunities for that subgroup first. So that is our homeless, foster, low socioeconomic, and our English learners. And then any additional funds we have, we open it to all of our students in TK through 8th. But we are required because it's an opportunity for kiddos, especially post-COVID, to have experiences during the summer that they may not be able to afford. We have a large disparity here in San Diego. We have the haves and the have-nots, and we really want to make sure that we provide those opportunities as that large school district to all of our students. So during the summer, we work with our labor unions, our teachers, and we provide a morning academic program. In the afternoon, we provide prime time. Prime time, I'm going to hand it to my partner here who's going to go detailed into what prime time is. And then also we have level up enrichment. So that's where we really partner, and we know that we can't do it alone. So we really value the partnerships and the relationships with quality outside businesses, nonprofits. And we really worked really hard over the last 4 and 5 years to build capacity of those small organizations to align with the requirements of that. But that's what we do during the summer. So we provide about 30 days. We actually do a little bit more than that using the ELOP and ACES funding. And then during the school year, I'm going to hand it to Christiana to explain kind of what we do and what prime time is.
Thank you, Toby. So for prime time, we do offer prime time before school at majority of our 144 schools, but we offer after school programs at all 144 elementary and middle schools. We do work offering academic enrichment, but we do have a combination of different contracts that we have with partnering organizations that offer the services. They hire the staff, they're within ratio, we provide the training. So there's that element in that place. We also work very closely with our principals. We reserve a certain percentage of the funding of the ELOP funds that we offer principals and the school site a menu of options. So based on those students that are participating in prime time, principals will receive a menu of options for either employing certificated teachers that are on school site or working with any of the other 40 contracted organizations that we work with. And Toby just briefly mentioned them to you. It could be the San Diego Zoo, it could be Living Coast, it could be a variety of different organizations that we bring on campus for outreach, providing instruction and opportunities for our students that's in addition and beyond the regular school day. So there's those opportunities that we provide working with a variety of different organizations that is throughout the school year. So that is something that is offered. In addition, we also have our primetime partner organizations that I briefly mentioned that actually run the programs in collaboration with our admin office. And they also employ a variety of different organizations to provide additional enrichment support services to our students during prime time. So there's a really combination of avenues that we work with a variety of different organizations to provide that enrichment opportunity for our students.
And then on the next slide, if you can click to that, if you're curious, what do we look for? And Christiana mentioned, we work with large organizations like the YMCA and small organizations such as, mom and pops, just startup CBOs, nonprofits. But one of the things we look for are that they're aligned to the CDE quality standards for ELO programs. And in the corner of this, if whoever's driving this can, you can click on the link of that book. It actually will link, and this is important if you are a beginning or a new company, or you're just looking into how do we get in to maximize this. This is the link to those quality standards, and there's 12 of them. Here in San Diego Unified, this is a link for you, and we can drop it in the chat later. We use these as our measuring stick to, as a business comes to us, and I think Olivia mentioned, if it's all salesy, like we're gonna give you this and do this, and it's $5 million a child, sorry, it's not going to work. So we created a really valuable, equitable, I should say, intake program process where people can go through and actually self-identify, do I have these different standards? And the link is on, it is there as well. I think she just dropped it in, but I think it's important first for smaller organizations, larger organizations to kind of do that self-reflection first. And is this a right match? Because these 12 standards are what we have to actually do the reporting that we're all talking about right now. They're measured with these 12 standards to ensure that student safety is at the core of everything we do. So we did add those as another resource for you if you're looking to partner with school districts, north, south. I know these are specific for California. I see that there's some people from out of California. I'm not sure exactly what yours are, but this is a resource for you as well. And then on our next slide is kind of just an example. We've been talking about, we say CBOs, community business organizations, partners, we use it. All of these are ongoing. We have actually over 100 partners, which really means a contract. So if you're looking into getting into a school, you need to have a contract with that specific school district. And as Christiana mentioned, we have 144 schools that we work with. All of those principals, they send, oh, we're interested in super soccer stars, or, oh, we're interested in the Birch Aquarium, or we're Legos, whatever those are. We have a Girls Who Code. These are all, and this is just a glimpse, there's many, many we have, but these are all specific partners that we've entered into a contract with. So it is important, just another hint for any of you looking to get into districts, contracts are all very visible. So if you're looking at any school district, north, south, east, west, any state, you can go to district board documents and you can see all their contracts. And that will really be a clue, just a helpful hint, to look at, oh, what are these contracts that are for ELO departments? ELO is a national, we have extended learning all over. But it is important, so just as a tip, to kind of go in there and say, oh, what does this contract look like? So if you're looking at how do I connect I mean, you can look at ours, sandy.net, and look at our board docs, and you'll see that we have contracts with all of these different partners here. So I want to share that as another resource if you're looking into getting into a district near you. And I think Olivia mentioned as well, there are large districts like ours, there are small districts as well, and every district is set up a little bit differently. For ours being so large, we have an entire ELO department that oversees this. Whereas smaller districts might have, you just go through the principal at the site, or maybe there's a assistant superintendent who oversees ELO. Every district is unique, so it's best to really kind of start where you are currently located and then get familiar with going to those different districts around you. Next slide. I think that is just really our high level overview on this, but we wanted to open it up to questions. And I see there's one about bus drivers. Yes. So for every district is different, but I know for ours specifically, we have both a transportation. So again, this is going to vary by district, but large districts like ours, we have an entire transportation department where we have our bus drivers here in San Diego Unified, whereas other districts, I should say, and we also have contracts with smaller transportation like Skip Hop Drive and other smaller just transportation, because it is a requirement, especially in the summer. If we don't open our campus, we do need to provide transportation. So again, it varies by district, but I just saw that transportation question kind of pop up and I wanted to address that. But with that, want to open it up to any questions for us here down in San Diego. And thank you again for having the opportunity, allowing us the opportunity to share how things operate down here. Oh, I see. Okay, a question is ELO partnership similar? Yes, and it really, we have a whole office of graduation because ours is unique. Again, we're a large district, but it's exactly the same. I shouldn't say exactly the same. It is similar. Every district is different. And like I said, the best way is to familiarize yourself with your local district, but you do most likely need a contract to be able to provide services directly to students. And I can allow you if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, I would just reach out to them and just wanting to be a partner and understanding what their needs are and how you can support them and providing, maybe there's a gap where they can use the support services for those students. So that's what I would do, is just get familiar with the district, see what their needs are, who the point of contact is, and also have already a program structure in place. I know for us, like minimum or modified school days, there's shorter school days, means longer after school programs. That seems to be a key time where they can really benefit from your support. So that, just kind of chiming in and understanding what the needs are and have a plan in place, and that you're wanting to work in partnership with with the different districts.
Any other questions, Linda?
I was just going to say thank you so much. You covered a massive amount of information. Both the two of you and Olivia, and it's like, wow. I think we all have a lot more knowledge as community-based partners. You shared how you see the role of community-based partners as really being there to fill gaps, but also to partner and work closely together. As we said earlier, is building a relationship. And I always think of building a relationship taking time. I know I've heard from all of you, not this month, but when building that relationship, what are some of the kinds of things you'd recommend doing in trying to establish that initial relationship for programs that don't have that right now with the districts?
I think that the best avenue is really becoming familiar with the district and the point of contact. I know for our district, when, Olivia touched upon it, is trying to sell us a program. We get so many different avenues and it's so informal. But just maybe reaching out and stopping by the office, just want to share what we're offering, and how we can provide support, and wanted to gain more information about your programs of how we can provide support. And also because we have partnerships like with YMCA, Harmonium, and say the larger organizations, it's even maybe reaching out to them as well, because, well, we already have a menu of options. Maybe there's another area or realm that could be beneficial. So it's really just, key is to just getting familiar and, who the point of contact is, the district, the programs, and just reach out just to connect with them and wanting to build that partnership. And what you have to offer is going to be huge, because all of the districts want their students to have these opportunities, and that we cannot provide in the district. And so that's why it's key to have these strong partnerships that are outside of the districts.
I agree. And one thing that I also have to say is something that's well organized. If a community-based partner is easy to work with, they are well organized in what they are going to offer, how they are going to deliver that offer. I think that that is really, really helpful, as well as the ability to follow through on getting a contract together. We've had definitely partnerships that we would not do again because what was offered was not followed through on, or was a little bit difficult. So when you're building those partnerships, the ones that we renew contracts with are oftentimes those ones that are well organized and have that high quality deliverable that are easy to work with.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely, Olivia. I mean, that is something that is key too, that we look for. It's even what grade levels do you serve? What are the hours per week? What's the session time frame that best works? What's your content? Things along those lines are all helpful and beneficial. And if there's flexibility that you can work with the different, districts based on their needs, at least if you have a framework to start with, and that you can modify it based on what their needs are, is definitely going to be beneficial.
That's great to know. Thank you so much. Any other questions that anyone else online has? Okay, if they come up as we continue, please let us know. And I agree with Lisa, it's so helpful. Thank you. Thank you all for your presentations. And next, what we want to do is take some time to go into breakout rooms. And in each of those breakout groups, we want you to have time to talk with one another as community-based providers. What was helpful to hear? What's worked for you? And actually, is there anyone who currently is successful at doing, at working with a district as a community-based partner that you want to share what you've done that's made it really successful? Okay, we're going to give you a chance to talk about in breakout then. Are we all back? Oh, good. I just want to thank again Olivia for really setting us on the road to thinking about so many different possibilities, and Christiana and Toby for adding to that and getting us wrapping our heads around how might a larger district do what we all want to be doing together. And it's exciting to see. I can't wait to look at the breakout groups. I know I really appreciated the group that I was with, and be able to share that information back with everyone who attended. It's wonderful to have you, Olivia. And I want to turn things back over to Estrella as she wraps up for today.
Thank you, Linda. And again, just to echo the appreciation for our panelists as well as for all of you for spending time, thinking about this topic. And in my breakout room, we had folks who were, really new to the idea of thinking about tapping into expanded learning funding, but had other innovative ways that they were working with community-based partners, if they were formal educators, or kind of thinking about getting, their word out. And, one question that did come up, and I don't know if we have time to fully address it, but I'm really curious, for many of us working within community-based organizations, often it's that champion teacher, right, that we connect with for for field trips, thinking about like the school day programming that we do, whether it's a push-in program or, you know, a pull-out program or something offsite. But often it's those champion teachers that we have the relationships with. And today, this session really offered a fresh perspective of thinking about a more systemic approach and a larger scale approach, you know, in working with folks at the county level or at the district level. And I'm just curious for our presenters, have you had any situations where it is the teachers who are coming to you and sharing or you know, kind of advocating for specific community partners that they've worked with? Is that something that you see, you know, as another possible avenue to help establish these larger scale relationships?
Yeah, we've seen teachers that in the core day that have had a lot of success, and then we've also seen after school coordinators that have had a lot of success. And because we do so many things collaboratively, it's a snowball effect. So it's like if you get in the door, oftentimes you really get in the door. So it's those champions that we really appreciate. And then also we give space to our kind of senior expanded learning folks to mentor newer people in the field. And oftentimes that's when a lot of like, hey, we've had a lot of success with this community-based partnership, or we've had a lot of success with these field trips. Here are my contacts. Here are my program plans. We really, because we're small, we encourage that quite a bit. And so we do see those champions. It only takes one positive experience, I promise, to get the ball rolling.
Thanks, Olivia. That's so helpful. Well, I'm going to shift things a little bit, and I want to close out with just sharing some other opportunities for you to continue learning and connecting, and for our community of program leaders to come together. So a few that AEOE are offering that are coming up. We have our program leader retreat at the end of this month. We'll be on the Central Coast at Camp Ocean Pines, and that's an opportunity for managers, coordinators, directors of environmental ed providers to come together for a weekend of connection and learning. And we'll be focusing on evaluation and really thinking about how to kind of expand our evaluation programs within, or our efforts within our programs. But most of the time there is open space. So just an opportunity to ask questions, lean on your peers, share resources, and to explore the Central California coast. We're just a few minutes away from elephant seals and a tide pool spot. It's pretty magical. So I'd love to see some of you there. We also have a course that we offer that's on on universal design for learning. So really thinking about program accessibility and how we can ensure that our programs are helping all students thrive. So, you know, kind of with that designing with the margins idea, in how we can shift our program approach there. So I hope that you might consider joining us for some of these, and I'll go ahead and just put our events link into the chat if you're interested to learn more about these or some of the other webinars that we have coming up. So we have webinars on a number of different topics, some that are specifically for program leaders and some that are for kind of a broader audience that might be interesting for your staff as well. I hope that you will save the date and potentially join us in May. We will be at Walker Creek Ranch, and right now our registration is open, as well as the call for workshop proposals. So if you have a particular talent or skill or strategy that you think might be really beneficial to share with a larger audience, or if there's someone on your team that has a really, you know, unique or interesting approach, we really encourage you to learn more and perhaps consider joining us for the statewide conference. We do have scholarships available. It's a really fantastic weekend that we'll be learning and connecting together. And we especially want to encourage our program leaders to attend and really share their expertise. A few other pieces that I wanted to make sure to bring to your attention. So our annual Impact Awards are also seeking nominations right now. So we have our Lifetime Achievement in Environmental Education, as well as our Organization of the Year that we offer in partnership with Cali and 10 Strands. And so this is an opportunity to really celebrate the champion work happening across the state. And the individuals who have made a tremendous impact on our sector. So thinking about those mentors, those people who have inspired you in your career, this is a great opportunity to recognize them and celebrate them, as well as the organizations out there, the great work that you do, and to call that to our attention as a community, and we really hope that we'll see a great round of nominations. We do every year. It's always really fun and inspiring and challenging to be on the awards panel, but just so incredible to see all of the great work that you're doing. And this is the second webinar of our series, Steve. And we have one more planned and several more that are in the works for later this spring. So we hope that we will see you at our webinar next month on equitable hiring and retention practices. We'll be joined by Candace Dickens Russell, and one of the valuable leaders of a community-based organization who's been doing this work for a long time, and we really are excited for that session. And with that, I want to just see if there are any final words out there, and really just thank everybody for their time and contributions today. Great. Well, if you came a little bit later, I know that we're going to be sharing out the recording with everybody. So if you missed the first part, you'll get a chance to do that. If you have colleagues or other folks on your team that you think would benefit from this information, same thing, you can pass that along to them. And we hope to see you at a future event. Have a great night. Thanks, everyone.